All right, no deal. No deal. Last night, breaking news. We got no deal in Islamabad. I'm not shocked. I really think the U.S. was going in there with no plan on making a deal. And I got a tweet from Joe Kent, the guy that just resigned from the Trump administration. We'll take a look at what he said, but I think there was no deal on the table in the first place. Islamabad was just a cover for either Israel to restock and or the United States to kind of reposition assets in the Gulf to go for round two. Actually, round three. It would be considered round three, right? So it's just sad, man. It really is sad. We've got the markets gapping down. We've got oil gapping up. We got a Bart Simpson. We'll take a look at Bart. He's back at it on Bitcoin. And I don't know what to say. I can't say I'm shocked, though. I'll tell you that much. There was no way that we were going to see any type of deal. I thought maybe we would get a little bit further in negotiations, maybe agree to some points. But to see them walk away from the entire meeting in Islamabad with nothing was a little shocking. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little shocking. So we'll see what happens from here, but I'll tell you one thing, what I've been hearing, and today's video I was gonna actually do on what Trump, his vicious, very vile, true social post he put out, I wanna say Thursday or Friday, aiming at Tucker, Candace, and Alex Jones. We'll talk about that. I'll do another video on that, but what's so crazy is that I'm hearing reports that not only did JD Vance have multiple communication lines with Trump back at the home base, at least a dozen times in 21 hours.
Mr. Vice President, how often did you communicate with President Trump throughout the negotiations? There were reports that there were multiple rounds where there were breaks in between negotiations. How often did you communicate with the president throughout those rounds, and what was he saying as you were going through these negotiations that you said fell short?
Yeah, obviously we were talking to the president consistently. I don't know how many times we talked to him, a half dozen times, a dozen times over the past 21 hours. We obviously also talked to Admiral Cooper, to Pete, to Marco, to the entire national security team. We talked to Scott Bessent a number of times. So look, we were constantly in communication with the team because we were negotiating in good faith. And we leave here with a very simple proposal, a method of understanding that is our final and best offer. We'll see if the Iranians accept it. Thank you.
I'm hearing that Benjamin Netanyahu was in the mix too. When Benjamin Netanyahu called JD Vance, that's when the negotiations started taking a turn for the worse. And you might have to ask yourself, how would Bibi Netanyahu know what was going on? Oh, because he got Israeli assets there in the form of Kushner and Witkoff. And that's how. They probably were keeping him abreast of what was going on and told him to give JD Vance that small hat knock on the door. And sure enough, that worked. So again, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, how has the United States gotten to the point where it is literally controlled fully from the rooter to the tutor by Israel, from the top to the bottom, completely controlled by Israel? I really think, ladies and gentlemen, and this all jokes aside, I think that Israel, Mossad, has some form of MK Ultra. I call it, I joke about it on Twitter all the time. I call it Mossad K Ultra. They've got some type of Mossad K Ultra program running on our administration and maybe have been for years. The CIA allegedly shut down the MK Ultra, and there's some other Ultra programs, mind control programs they created back in the 60s or 50s or 70s maybe. I don't know exactly when, but it said they shut those down. Nah, I don't think you just shut something like that down, especially if it was highly effective. You just don't shut something down like that. So I thought it was just me. I really felt like they have some type of mind control over Trump and the administration. And lo and behold, Alex Jones, who again just fell out with Trump, he came out with a tweet saying this.
The old Trump is gone right now. Someone has replaced him. And the truth is that we've seen but the ice tip, the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the energy weapons, the direct energy weapons. Like when it comes down to the manipulation of our politicians, it's not about AIPAC and lobbyist money anymore. We're in the future, okay? They're being influenced by the meetings they take, not just by a person showing up with a check, but about the contact that comes from that. They can manipulate reality itself now through this technology and other technology that's yet to be disclosed. I mean, look, President Trump's been in office the second round for about a year, and he's already disclosed 2 of the CIA's top weapons they've been developing through DARPA, the discombobulator and the ghost murmur. The old Trump is gone right now. Someone has replaced him. I think President Trump should submit to this testing.
Yeah, I would love to test them.
It's either burnout, lack of sleep, or he was bad all along and now he's done, doesn't need to be reelected, he's cashing in. That's probably it. But regardless, if anybody's a target on the earth of this, we know what's going on, it's him.
Yeah.
So just by logic, he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they've, like you said, they've caught the Israelis in the White House and in the White House grounds and on the cars, planting stingrays that scan everything, high-powered readers, radio frequency, digital frequency reading systems. That's serious espionage.
Yeah, well, a stingray basically is it mimics a cell tower.
Yeah,
and it'll intercept any type of transmissions. You make a phone call and off your cell phone, they're listening because that cell tower, that stingray, we call MCs, MC catchers. Are capturing all your data, they're listening, everything, what you're emailing, what you're texting.
Remember, the reports were it was other classified devices too.
Correct.
I talked all about this, and there's just so much. But if you just joined us, we just played recent congressional testimony of Lieutenant Colonel Ed Green, who was tasked to investigate in the last decade the Vance syndrome. He said, well, it's all classified, but I can tell you, directed energy weapons, mind control, this is going on, and it's happening everywhere. Governments, corporations, you name it.
And so you gotta wonder, they mention adversaries, but they never mention anyone who was on our side. What did Tupac say? Keep your eyes on your enemies and watch your friends. You have to watch your friends more than you watch your enemies, because those are the ones that are closest to you. So if we know that Russia has this technology, we know that potentially China has this technology and other adversaries, why wouldn't our friends have it? Especially of all countries, all organizations, Mossad. I'm starting to be convinced that Trump is under some type of mind control because the shift is just too extreme, ladies and gentlemen. This is not what we voted for, those who voted for Trump. This is not what we voted for. I saw a tweet that I'll put up right now that pretty much shows you like the old MAGA versus new MAGA. Old MAGA was no wars, drain the swamp, affordable housing, invest in infrastructure, reduce health care costs, lower inflation and national debt, close the border. Out of all those things, one, close the border. That's the only one I've seen. And it was after he did the close the border is when he totally went a 180 on us. This is what the new MAGA is. Endless Middle East wars. Americans die for Greater Israel Project. Bankrupt America. Powerful AIPAC lobby and foreign influence. Add in there MK Ultra, because these people are insane. Trump pretty much failed at the negotiations that we had on deck, or his team did. He was at a UFC fight, by the way, at the critical period in the negotiations. Marco Rubio was there, Trump. Now, Marco Rubio is a foreign relations guy. He's supposed to actually be doing what JD Vance was doing. At least JD Vance and Marco Rubio were supposed to be there together, not Kushner and Witkoff. But Rubio is with Trump at the UFC. He's getting booed like none other. And I was wondering, like, will that be a wake-up call for Trump? Because he's pretty much isolated. He doesn't hear and get a pulse on the real voice of the people, and hasn't since he's really been in office, because he hasn't been doing any rallies and stuff like that. He's pretty much been at Mar-a-Lago, from Mar-a-Lago to the White House in Mar-a-Lago, meeting with various dignitaries, but nothing touching the people. And so I thought maybe yesterday would give him a reality check on what's really going on. But I don't think he was fazed at all. People were booing him, and he's just doubling down, ladies and gentlemen. He said, now we're going to do a blockade. We're going to do a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. So it's just very strange behavior, and it's illogical. It doesn't make any sense at all. Before I talk about that, though, Joe Kent, the guy that got fired, and I talked about at the beginning, and said I would mention and show his tweet. This is what he said. He said, it appears that the zero enrichment poison pill killed the Islamabad negotiations yesterday. We have 9 more days in this ceasefire to fix this, but we must pursue our goals, not Israel's. Trump's red line has always been no nuclear weapons. For Iran, not zero enrichment. Exactly. So we think that Bibi Netanyahu gave JD Vance a call while out in Islamabad and said, hey, zero enrichment. That was never the case. So you're setting terms that you know will not be reached because Israel wants to keep this war going. Israel wants to keep bombing Lebanon. These are complete war crimes. And at what point are we as Americans going to wake up? I don't know. I really don't know, man. But yeah, we've got Israel continuing to bomb Lebanon. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but Apple literally just removed small villages in South Lebanon. So these villages, they've removed the names of them on the map. Apple just did this. So they're complicit in this genocide, this overtaking of another country's borders. Did they remove the villages' names in the Ukraine-Russia war? No, they didn't remove any of the territory that Russia has taken over. They didn't remove any of those village names. But Israel, yeah, we're going to remove and act like those villages never existed on the map. It's completely insane. Never seen anything like this in my life. So again, Trump now, and this is just showing you how irrational Trump is. Either his frontal lobe dementia, or it could be both. It could be frontal lobe dementia because he is 80 years old, and or MK Ultra, some type of MK mind control program that Mossad has put on him. But now he is suggesting and initiating on the 13th a blockade in the Persian Gulf. So he's going to have military vehicles engage in kinetic war with ships if they move past the point of entering the Strait of Hormuz. Iran already has it pretty much locked down and only allowing, it's not closed, but they're allowing only certain ships to come through. They're paying a fee. Everything is working properly, right? So you want to go behind them and completely shut it all down. So essentially making the global crisis even worse. By the way, the thing that you started, it was open before you attacked them. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more videos like this. We stream every morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, trading the markets with bloodlytics.com. Check that out if you want more an edge to trading the crypto markets and also other markets. We got crude oil trading systems available, silver, we'll have gold soon. So bloodlytics.com, check that out, link in the description below. I'll check y'all on the next one. I'm out of here, people. How?
Yo, it's Crypto Blood, Detroit flow, screaming from the D, knowing what to show. Indicators are on point, OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro. I rock it.